What's up, folks? This is the second edition of this podcast. Um, so today we're gonna talk about this is Truthseeker podcast. So today we're gonna talk about um, what it means to be a truth seeker and truth speaker. Excuse me. We're gonna talk about what it means to be a truth seeker and a truth speaker, and we're also gonna talk about music. So I'll give you a little background information about me. I spoke to my mother the other day. She said that I was born Anglican and also Episcopalian. Episcopal. It pisses me off that I don't even understand my roots fully when it comes to religious organizations or peoples. But I know Anglican means stemming from Catholic, but when I looked it up, it meant stemming from Catholic, but also having to deal with Protestant. So it's slightly interesting. Um, while I've gone to a number of different worldly churches over the years, from Baptist to I went to Anglican school, according to a girl that I walked to school with as a kid at Anglican school. And that's what she told me recently when I asked her. I was trying to figure some things out. So God is intriguing to some people. Some people hide from God on a spiritual level. When talking about what it means to be a truth seeker first, right? A truth seeker, I feel that some people are naturally truth seekers, whether they declare I'm a truth seeker or not. Excuse me. Turn off the fan. Excuse me. Be right back in about 5 seconds. Now, um, so while you could be a truth seeker, and a truth seeker to me is somebody that is knowledgeable because they can listen, they can do research on a number of different topics, not just God, but also current events and things like some of you don't know about the CERN, but I learned about the CERN a long time ago by doing research on YouTube. It's interesting in a way. Um, it's a way of speedy travel, and it's this word I'm thinking about now. I don't fully understand it. It's kind of complex, but something Haliburton collider. I forgot the technical term, but has something to do with particles too and stuff like that. I don't really study that stuff too deeply, but when you're on YouTube and searching for things, or doing Google research to see the different viewpoints on certain things. It's a form of truth seeking, and your phone could be a library. Your iPad could be like a library of information, if depending on how you use it. So, like the first Truth Seeker podcast, I had done some research on King Solomon 4, and I found out some things on YouTube. But this is not about Solomon right now. This is about something I call myself a truth seeker. On the spiritual side, again, I've read the Bible, and the main thing with me and the Bible that a lot of people don't understand is what intrigues me about it is the prospect of immortality, salvation, which has to do with immortality, can be gained by studies. You cannot gain salvation by attaching yourself to God's messengers and pulling at their coattails every 5 seconds, finding your favorite messenger and saying, I'm going to spy on him for the rest of my life, and pulling on his coattails. At some point, by doing that, you look like a fool. But as a truth seeker, what you can do is find out, do in-depth research to find out about God and what God believes and things of that nature. You can do research like this. You don't have to do it with one person. And there's sites online that you can use to find out about a number of different religions. Some religions have their own websites. Some information is out there, but not necessarily on their website. So some people like to tug on people's coattails all day for information, as if that's the best way to do things. It makes you look stupid in the long run, really. I mean, asking somebody a question to get to the point fast sometimes, if you have a speed situation, like your phone needs charging or something like that, there's nothing wrong with that. But some people just don't get it. Anyway, Truthseeker podcast this week, or this time around, we're going to talk about something that at first I wanted to start my own religion at first. Then I said, you know what? While I don't think there's one true religion on this earth, and I had a WordPress site. I don't use it no more. Somebody could have changed what's written on it too, because I got a lot of haters out there that actually follow me just to compare themselves with me, to be relevant. There's more than one of them, but that's not what I'm here to talk about. Even in the music section, I don't plan on talking about them by name. I do these podcasts sometimes to go into elaboration about certain things without having to rap. In the music section, I'll tell you why I think rap is one of the most dangerous forms of music there is. If it wasn't something good about it, people wouldn't gravitate to it. I gravitated towards it as a little kid. I knew I could sing, but then I tried to rap, and it became a challenge to me because, well, somebody that I was supposed to battle when I wrote my first rap, it was actually a girl, and I think she won the battle, my very first battle. It was just my first battle, And while I have intellect, and I don't think this person could beat me in a rap battle again. Um, Basically, I'll admit that I lost because um, I was just a novice, and that's I'll just leave it at that. Um, I was listening to it though, and around the time I started listening to rap, I knew I was the best singer in the class according to the music teacher. Just her response. Shout out to Miss Pollard. Um, and if you're still alive in Brooklyn, um, I wish you the best. It's a dog eat dog world out there, though. Um, I can be reached through comments and things of such on this podcast, um, by commenting on the YouTube. A lot of people have YouTube pages, some don't. A lot of older folks don't even use social media. While social media is the web, and there's a lot of web applications you can use on your phone to do social media, from obscure sites, different web applications like Stereo, to well-known ones like Facebook. Um, there's a lot of things going on. Let me finish talking about the truth seeker. I want to do this in order. So we're going to talk about what it is to be a truth seeker, what I was thinking about doing with that, and what it is to be a truth speaker on the truth speaker level, which very few people reach, and also music. So I thought about having my own religion, and I learned from one of the main religions that I've been around most of my life is Jehovah's Witnesses, to be honest. And then even around the time I was first studying with them and going to their halls, I actually uh, went to a Baptist church. I've went to a number of Baptist churches, probably more than one. Um, at least one that I recall. I also went to uh, um, I've probably been to a Catholic church at least once. I thought that the Anglican school that I went to was actually Catholic. So I asked the girl that I used to walk to school with, is that a Catholic school? She said, no, it's actually Anglican. Looking up Anglican, like I said though, it's Catholic, a mixture of Catholic and Protestant. For some, that's something I saw. Um, usually it's either you're Protestant or you're Catholic, because the Catholic Church was one of the original churches, and then people either stuck with them or left, and that's the word Protestant. Protested. Excuse me for a second. I'll be right back in 1 minute. Less than 1 minute. Now, to finish what I'm saying, where was I? So, hearing a lot of noise, so I had to check on it. So when I learned recently what my roots were, I just did a little research. I didn't even look up the word Episcopal. Right now I can't even pronounce it. But a lot of us come from different religions, and a lot of religious organizations are just that, religious organizations. To me, when people say the word religion, it doesn't necessarily have to do with what they believe. The word religion to me has to do with organizations. Man-made organizations, and some man-made organizations are just there to try and control people and make money. That's why in Revelations it describes religion as Babylon the Great, or Babylon. So Revelations also describes Babylon as a harlot. What do harlots do? They extort money from people. That's one thing that a lot of people don't really like about religion. The religion I was around for the most part of my life really wasn't begging people for money very much. Some people don't understand that. But what they have is a drop box near the door. They don't pass around a collection plate. And sometimes they may ask you for donations. Some people either give generous donations or they don't. And a lot of times the people that go to the Kingdom Halls is the one I'm talking about. A lot of times people that go there drop in what they drop in a lot of money because they believe what they are hearing, and they view it as good. While I learned a lot of good things from the Bible by being around Jehovah's Witnesses, I have my beliefs on them, which I choose to reserve at this time, since I'm not a really integral member of their organization. I'm not an integral member of their organization, but what I will say is I've made some friends there in the Brooklyn congregation, the first one that I went to. Shout out to anybody that remembers me. This is Truthseeker Podcast, episode 2. I learned a lot from Maggie and Brother Ford, and they may be ashamed of the fact that I deflected from their religion, but one point that I want to make is being a part of a religious organization is a choice. While Jehovah's Witnesses stemmed from the Seventh-day Adventist. Seventh-day Adventist church was before the Jehovah's Witnesses church or Kingdom Halls. Jehovah's Witnesses used to call themselves Bible students, but one of the founding members, the founding member of Jehovah's Witnesses organization, I call them Jehovah's Witnesses organization because a lot of people believe in Jehovah, they just don't call themselves Jehovah's Witnesses necessarily. I believe in Jehovah as being God, but I don't necessarily want to be called a Jehovah's Witness. I've never seen God with my own 2 eyes. The name is a little deceptive, but we have a lot of the same beliefs in spirit. It's my left side, right? So their beliefs stem from the Bible, but while I care about some of the people in their organization, I don't care for some of the ways some of the people have treated me over the years. Thus, I don't feel I need to be around them to accomplish everything. I don't feel I need to be around a lot of people to accomplish certain things. Use the word certain things, the words certain things. So, if I consider myself a teacher, and when you're with them and you get deep in with them, they say you're now an ordained minister. I've learned a lot from a lot of different religions, and we can talk about spirituality and religious organizations too on this podcast. Spirituality comes in different forms. Not all of it has to do with religion. if you're not a part of a religious organization, sometimes, well, most of the times, intelligent people will view what your spirituality is as pagan. I don't view my belief as pagan. I've learned a lot from pagans. I'm leaning more towards Christianity, even though Christianity has committed a lot of atrocities over the years that I don't even want to be affiliated with. So this is why, as a truth seeker and truth speaker, I feel that when it comes to talking about spirituality, and also when it comes to dealing with religion, religious organizations, the whole thing, the whole organization of people that have a doctrine, you have to be careful. Revelation taught me that you have to be careful. The book of Revelations, the last book. So, on a truth speaker level, while you can lie as a truth speaker, depending on who you're talking to, like if you were talking to a Pharisee or Sadducee, and you were sad to see them, you could tell them, listen, I'm happy to see you, but I'm busy right now. You don't have to be busy. Mind your business and keep it moving. If they put their hand on their shoulder and say, can you please tell me about the Bible? You say, I'd like to tell you about the Bible. Move your hand, please. I'd like to tell you about the Bible, but I have to use the bathroom. If you don't have to tell them the truth. If you actually see something about them, like an idol that they're wearing on their neck as a pendant, you could say, you know what? You seem holy, but I have something I have to hold down over on this side, on the right side over here. Now, on a truth speaker level, that's intelligent in some ways because, well, not everything. Throwing pearls to swine is foolishness. What I will say is this. While throwing pearls to swine is foolishness, there's a number of different ways you can go about being a teacher. One thing I learned from the Bible is that once you gain a certain knowledge, you have an obligation to God to reflect that knowledge. But another thing that's written is if God's chosen people or servants didn't speak, God could make the stones talk. Consider that. From what I understand, it's written. I don't remember the exact scripture, honestly speaking. But I'm getting older, so I don't remember every scripture there is. I'm not perfect. Adam wasn't perfect. After he sinned, we inherited imperfection. When it comes to perfection, that word perfection, it's too much imperfection in this world for me. I wish Adam didn't sin, so to tell you the truth, the word perfection, I don't see the word perfection in the Bible. Perfection is a man-made word, of course. I respect the Creator, though. His name is written at Exodus 6:3. But on a truth speaker level, so when it comes to being a truth speaker, very few people around me will be on a spiritual level. On a spiritual level, very few people will be considered a truth speaker by me, unless I check them out or study with them consistently. There was a guy who I've played basketball with, and sat down to eat food with, and there's more than one person with a similar name than his. He lives in a part of New York that I'm never at these days, but I don't want to use names in this podcast, but for certain reasons. I respect this individual a lot, though. He's a married man. I'm not married, but he's a married man. So married and single people have differences in how they go about moving, but I respect him on the level that, on every level that I've engaged him on, I respect him actually. Some would say he makes more godly moves than me. But if I was so ungodly, would I take time out to do a podcast about spirituality and truth seeking and truth speaking? Wait till we get to the music part. Wow, because I feel like I have embraced music too much, I now have to denounce music a little bit and talk about the bad side of music. That's what we're going to talk about. The bad side of music. I really don't feel using names is beneficial to me. I'm going to talk about what I dislike and why I dislike it when it comes to the music industry, which I'm actually a part of because, well, my music, the level that I'm on in music is just too advanced for me to say I'm not a part of the music industry, but I don't go to industry events. There's a reason for that. I might touch on the Truthseeker level a lot. Let me touch on the Truthseeker level and see if I can finish what I had to say on that. I'll try not to go over 50 minutes on this podcast, but we're nearly at 30 minutes. So on a Truthseeker, let's recap. Truth seekers can be natural people who seek knowledge on current events, maybe even if it's politics a little bit, spirituality, which has to do with God sometimes. It might even have to do with divination. Broadening your general knowledge on different topics is not bad, but you have to be careful what you study too. While I have looked into Apocrypha, and that's books that are not written by, well, not included in the canon of the Bible, as so to speak, by theologists. Some of these books can be harmful, is what I'm thinking. Some of these apocryphal books can be harmful to your belief. And the Bible, some people do not use just 66 books of the Bible. Well, I try to stick to 66 books of the Bible, similar to certain organizations. I think Seventh-day Adventists might use the 66 books of the Bible. I think that's what Jehovah's Witnesses go by. Don't quote me on that. I know Jehovah's Witnesses go by that. And they stemmed from the Seventh-day Adventists, but I'll try to shave for the next Truthseeker podcast. My hair is kind of growing kind of woolly. I'm looking like Wolverine or something. But anyway, what I want to say is there are some religions and churches that use more than 66 books of the Bible. The Revelations, it warns you not to do that towards the end. I think it's in the last chapter, I'm pretty sure of that. It says plagues will be added to you if you add to those books. I don't want to focus on the religions that have added to the 66 books and things like that, or added to the Bible itself, but there are some religions that have translated the Bible wrong, in my opinion. Not what I'm here to talk about as a truth speaker and truth seeker. Once again, though, on the truth speaker level, Very few people will make it to the truth speaker level because very few people can listen. Listening is a skill. Some people don't have it in them to listen to other people to find out what they're talking about. Sometimes I listen to people. Sometimes I nod my head and say, yes, yes. Sometimes I do it too much, actually. But by listening to people and entertaining them for a while, you could learn some things. Does anybody agree with that comment? You could learn what they believe. You don't have to believe it. You could say, You don't have to make the face. But in actuality, I may believe some of the things that people say. I don't always believe everything everybody say, though. I try to be reserved on a regular because this world is scary and kind of disgusting to me on a truth speaker level. And while I have actually looked at things like porn in my life, probably too much. Who hasn't? Actually, who hasn't? It's one of the vices, I'll admit, I've gotten involved with for the wrong. It's led to my part of my reputation being muddied, which is why I don't look at porn every night. I used to look at porn a lot. Porn is not good for your spirituality. I know this, but if you're in a relationship, what it is good for, in my opinion, is stimulating you to perform. But to me, that's like the only thing that it could be good for, really. And they even say that on when they advertise porn. It'll help you. It'll stimulate you to perform better, maybe. Anyway, this is not what this podcast is about. What we talking about right now on the truth speaker level is why with me you'll never make it to the truth speaker level is because a lot of y'all can't listen properly for whatever reason. You weren't taught to listen properly, or some older folks usually. I don't bother with older folks sometimes when they think they know everything. A lot of older folks think they know everything, so they don't listen. It's unfortunate. A lot of older folks in this world, but I'm approaching middle age now. While I have my own semi-pro sports league that I'm a part of, pro sports league, and we're supposed to play 3 sports. While I don't feel I'm too old to play any of these sports, I am middle-aged. I'm less than 50 though, that's for sure. So I'm getting up there in age, and I'm older than 40. Basically, God may have actually, I don't have a lot of kids, so God may have actually held me in a certain position, knowing that I am, we're all precious to God, knowing that I am also a precious person to Him as a messenger. When you have a lot of kids, it diverts your attention. You have to change diapers. You have to watch little Billy, and hoping Billy will become a GOAT, a greatest of all time at something. Everybody has prospects for their kid, visions for their kids. When you have kids, is the point that I'm making is when you have kids is that you can your attention is here, there, everywhere. You don't have time to focus on certain things other than work, and your kids become very important to you. preaching to other people is not the most important thing in your world. If you're a minister, I'm not a minister, so even though I know I'm obligated to teach. Teaching wouldn't be important to me. This podcast is important to me for certain reasons, though, because I feel like I'll be fulfilling my obligation, and it'll give me time to do certain things that I haven't done in the past. I used to do a little bit of preaching in my own way in my newsletter, The Word on Land. Some name in it, I called it The Word on Land. Some of y'all might remember that. What I want to say is this. As a truth speaker, and I'm a fictional writer, haters might say, haters will call me a liar. I'm not calling everybody a hater, though, because fiction is similar to lies, basically. I don't like to use the word lies as a fictional writer, though. Lying is not a good quality, but as I said earlier, why would you have to tell the truth to your enemies? On a truth speaker level, if you don't understand that, your intellect ain't too good. A lot of people can't understand the word of God because they just don't have much common sense naturally. It has to do with brain capacity, some of it. It has to do with intellect, some of it. And it has to do with stubbornness, some of it. Sometimes people will claim they don't understand something, and they not understand exactly what you're talking about. They'll claim they don't understand it, and they don't believe it just because they started saying the opposite thing that you're saying. Why is that? Sometimes I guess it could be because, well, they just don't like you, but they don't want to come out and say, I don't like you. Get the fuck out of my face. Excuse my French. This is supposed to be a podcast on spirituality slightly, but I'm not perfect. Adam wasn't perfect, and also Adam spread sin. So I wish I could blot that out. But Adam spread sin to all other men by eating that fruit. Now they say that and this is not the Sermon on the Mount. This should be old news to religious people, or should I say spiritual people. They say that he knew that he was doing something wrong, but the scriptures say that Eve was totally deceived, basically. He wasn't totally deceived. He just wanted to be with Eve. Typical of men, even Solomon, the wisest, not the wisest man in my opinion, because Jesus is who some call the wisest man, and I believe that too. Jesus was not as rich as Solomon, though. Solomon was also the richest man in the world. So what I'm saying is, be careful how you follow certain people. But anyway, while Solomon was the wisest man in the world to some people while he lived, wisdom itself is in the eye of the beholder. It's in the eye of the beholder. While some religious people say that Jesus Christ was the smartest man that ever lived, some religious people also call him a perfect man. Just speaking on the topic of wisdom, though, because I don't want to reflect on perfection. Perfection is not something easily achieved in this world. I mean, actually, I'm confess something. I don't believe in perfection on any level, in the whole universe. What I will say is this. The Bible doesn't even mention, the word perfection does not show up in the Bible according to my recollection. What I will say is this. Jesus Christ, in comparison to Solomon, who was the richest man in the world and who had way more money than Jesus Christ, most likely. Some people believe that Jesus Christ was the smartest man that ever lived. And I'm one of those people, from what I recall. Here's the reason. While Christ, according to the book of John, which starts off talking about, in the beginning the Word was, and the Word was, Christ is a nickname for the Christ is the Word. Some spiritual people know that. It just says in the beginning the Word was. And some people say that while Christ was the actual first creation of the Most High God, and the scriptures also indicate this, he also created everything that we see, or he helped the Most High God create everything that we see on this earth. So, shout out to Carrie. She predicted I'll be doing this. I'm not calling myself a minister though. She focuses on God all the time. So shout out to you, Carrie Dad. I've eaten food and congregated with you before in somebody's home in order to speak about God. She's not a Jehovah's Witness, but when you're speaking about God and spirituality, it piques my interest. None of those people there may have ever been to a Kingdom Hall before. Don't quote me on that because I'm not sure. I know they had no watchtowers in their hands, but it was interesting slightly. So it was interesting. So on a truth speaker level, in order to speak truth, you must be taught truth. If you can't listen properly, you can't learn. However, I may speak more on the truth speaker level on another Truth Seeker podcast. But I am a truth speaker, even though I write fictional stories sometimes. A fictional writer is an entertainer. So George Lucas is a fictional writer. Didn't he come up with a good story? What's wrong with his story? You're going to say, I don't like him, he's a liar. That's what you're going to say. Shout out to George Lucas. I think your Star Wars stories were unbelievable. But now let's talk about music. Now, musical scores are good. And at some point, I may just stop putting words to music. This is something I saw in the past in my mind. My first instrumental record is called Soul Master. And it can be found on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, YouTube. It's a 7-song instrumental record, but I completed it in about 7 days. 7 days. It wasn't difficult. A lot of this I did very it was actually easy. My recording process is very easy. It takes me very long to record songs sometimes, though, that have words on them, because as I'm recording them, a lot of time I'm writing at the same time. I don't sit down writing and then say, let me find a beat to go with this. I did that early on, maybe on my demos and stuff like that. And I found out that a certain artist who passed away and was viewed as great used to listen to beats first before he decides to write to it. I said, maybe that's the way to go. That's what I've been doing ever since. A lot of time I'm writing while I'm recording. Say this without getting into my recording process. Music could be dangerous. a number of ways and why you could if you aspire to be an artist, you could contact me via this YouTube page or um, Instagram or Facebook. Um, and my first name is Clayton. Um, what I want to say is music could be dangerous. The rap game is a dangerous game. People have lost their lives over it. More people have probably lost their lives over musical wars in the rap game than musical wars in the R&B game. And while singing impresses some people, the thing about the R&B game that I do not like is that a lot of times you won't be singing songs to God, which is admirable. Even though I reflect thoughts about God in my music sometimes, it's not always to, I wouldn't call it gospel. Unfortunately, should I say unfortunately? Hold on a second. I just wasn't raised as a gospel singer. My roots stem from, I have Caribbean roots. That's number one. Number two, quicker listen to a Bob Marley record than a gospel record. And I'm hearing a lot of noise. Excuse me. I try to finish this because I'm not trying to go over 50 minutes. So what I will say is, I think I probably rapped too much over the years, but I'm not. So while some people call me intelligent, and I don't think that um, I'm the most intelligent person that ever lived compared to Jesus Christ, who, as I was saying, he was in heaven before he came to earth, according to the Bible. Something some people don't know because a lot of people don't dig into the scriptures. But why some people don't believe that. I believe that. So you can believe what you want to believe. As a truth speaker, I'm just going to tell you what I believe. So well, I believe he wasn't in. He was. Um, I wasn't there though, of course. So I can't give you evidence. But whenever you're talking about the word and the Bible, the Word of God, faith comes into it. I have faith because of all the studies that I've had over the years, and a lot of people revere Jesus. Jesus didn't ask for worship, but there's a reason why the second half of the Bible, the New Testament, is still held dear to a lot of people. To their heart. So I just want to say this. While music can be a dangerous ballpark to go into, and some people want to tell you about their label to hype up what they have constantly, and also pull you into their mix to get attention for their name, which is their label. I have three label names that I've used, and I don't need no more really. I own these label names. Saying you own a name is humorous to me. It's not the distributor. I don't own a distributor. I use a distributor, but I pay money for the distributor to put my music on Spotify, Apple, this, that, YouTube, this, that, the other, Amazon, blah, blah, blah. But um, if people figure out you have talent, they're gonna say, "Could you please sign to my label?" Um, Grown ass men coming around telling you to sign your name to this, to make sweet music. Sweet music. Just because you could sing. Meanwhile, they have no females on their label that you say look nice. Isn't music for partially for making love to and slow dancing sometimes and uh, relaxing too, and you could even sip tea, listen to music. When it comes to rap, another man wants you to sign your name to his. It can become a headache. They want you to work for free. They want to steal you as an artist. Well, some people will give you money up front. To me, it's a slave game to give somebody money up front so they could rap for you, and you tell them, "Well, I want you to rap like this," but I was rapping like this. I gotta rap like that for. I don't want to go through that. Too old for that. No, it's not what I'm about. Sorry. You know the game Sorry that's on the board? Go play a game of Sorry somewhere else. Now, this is why the game could be dangerous, man. And people want to know why. They're not gonna ask you, why couldn't you just sign my label? I gave you all this money to be a slave. Why can't you just say you need a slave? Go somewhere else and find a slave. Is this slave days? Please. That's how I be feeling. I don't want to hear about nobody's label, nobody's name. When it comes to distribution, I may change distributors at some point. I like BandLab, but I already have some label names to a different distributor, so that's the only problem with BandLab that I see when it comes to distribution. Shout out to BandLab. I'm big on BandLab, big on what they're doing. I don't always promote in the community space on BandLab though. With that, this has been Truthseeker Podcast number 2. I'm a dip, and peace. I'm out of here.